Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the week of January 28th through February 3rd. Today is Saturday, February 3rd. I think that's right? This week, just the same old again. We've got a couple of things going on at work that made it just a little bit more stressful, but that's to be expected with everything that's going on at work, and it's just going to be that way until about the middle of April, I would think, if not the end. So, yeah, not too much different as far as things going on. I was able to finish a couple of books this week, was able to start a new book, or at least a couple, and so I'll chat with you about those. I have a Yarnie update for you, and then I'll share with you what we've been watching. So let's get started. So the first book that I finished this week was What a Ghoul Wants by Victoria Laurie. This is the 7th book in the Ghost Hunter Mystery Series. You know, I've been rereading this series since last year. Really enjoying my reread. This is my favorite installment in the series. And I know I gushed about this book with you last week, but it really is, even after finishing this, my favorite book in the series so far. This one takes place in Wales, and our Ghoul Getters team goes to a haunted castle. And that haunted castle has been turned into a hotel, and it's got a big moat around it. And they're dealing with a ghost called the Widow. And this particular ghost is very aggressive, much more aggressive than most of the ghosts that we have seen throughout this series so far. And the stakes get pretty high for the team in this particular one. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I ended up finishing this read physically because I was in the last few chapters and I just really wanted to read through what they were going through at the time. Everything was just coming to a climax, and the end of the hunt was near, and dealing with the mystery and the ghost and everything was just like I was on the tips of my toes. Really enjoyed the end of this one, and I'm looking forward to getting to the next one. Gave this one 5 stars still. My rating on this one did not change. So I'm glad to know that this one is still one of my favorites, and so that was awesome. I am planning on taking a break for this one. So I do have 3 books left in this series, and I do want to read them all in March for March Mystery Madness. FYI, an announcement video for March Mystery Madness is coming out on Friday. So that's kind of why I am more glammed up than usual. There is a reason for it. And so if you're interested in hearing the announcement for March Mystery Madness, it is coming out in just a couple days. And you, my friends, the ones who are watching my diary entry, are the first to know that that is coming out. So very excited for this year's round of March Mystery Madness. And so I definitely want to read the last 3 in March. So gonna take a break from this series, but still really enjoying my reread of that one. And then I finished Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. So this is a very short novella about a group of young, like, adults, not young adults, but like they're in their 20s, and they end up going to this house, or this, I'm not sure what they call it. I guess they call it a mansion. It's a Heian-era mansion that's been abandoned in Japan for the upcoming nuptials of one of their friends. So this friend group has kind of had a rocky relationship over the last period of time, and we're following the point of view of one of the female characters. She's had a couple of issues. She doesn't really get along with the bride-to-be, but she's friends with the groom-to-be. And so she was invited along on this friend trip. She's kind of just coming out of her shell after kind of stepping away from the outside world for a bit. And yeah, the uneasiness of her relationship with the bride-to-be and her kind of trying to patch things along with the groom-to-be and the rest of the friends that she hasn't been as close to before is kind of making things uncomfortable. But they're at this place. One of their friends is like super rich and he was able to get them a permit to stay at this place. And while they are there, strange things start to happen. It has to deal with this character right here. So basically it's kind of a haunted mansion type of story. Very, very short. This is 124 pages, but I believe this starts on page 9. So chapter 1 starts on page 9. So it's not 124 pages, but this took me way too long to read. So I have not heard the greatest things about this particular book from a lot of the people that I watch on BookTube. But I wanted to reserve my thoughts on it until I read it because you never know. My thoughts on it might have been that this book was great. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. So I picked this one up for the Phase Out Your TBR Readathon that's being hosted by Krys's Corner. We're in Phase 2, or Phase 2 is like January, February. So I'm finishing up my Phase 2 TBR, and one of my prompts was to read a standalone. And so this is a standalone. And so I decided to go ahead and finally read this. I did pick it up as soon as it was released, but I never read it. And then I started hearing not so great things about it. And so it's just kind of pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to finally read it, figure out how I feel about it, and then know for sure. Well, this was just okay for me. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I definitely thought this was going to rate lower, but after putting it through Khaw pile, it ended up a 3-star flat. So the characters in this story are pretty unlikable. I didn't like any of them. If I had to choose one that I enjoyed, I would say it would have been Lynn. He seems to be the one that's most grounded, the one that has the more logical head on his shoulders. But the rest of the characters I didn't really like. And a lot of them had different issues with each other. So drama, right? I don't like stories with a lot of drama. And so that didn't help this story either. I do think that the haunted house had great promise, but I needed more from this story. This story was too short. Things could have been expanded on to make that haunted house more creepy. There could have been so many more things that could have happened with just the environment that this story was taking place in. And I feel like the story lost out on all of that potential. So unfortunately, 3 stars, which isn't a bad rating. It's still a good rating. For me, 3 is like, it's a good rating. It's positive. It's not negative, which is where I thought this was going to be when I rated it. But once I put it through Khaw pile, it did end up a 3. So that's what I rated it on Goodreads and Storygraph. I will probably never read this one again, if I'm honest. I will probably not ever think about this story again, because for me, this story was a lot of drama. There was a lot of wasted potential that could have been tapped into with this one. And the story was just okay. So I'm glad I read it. I ticked off that prompt for Phase Out Your TBR, and so that's great. Served its purpose. So because I finished 2 books this week, I was able to get a new audiobook on the app and then also start a new physical book. So the audiobook I decided to pick up was Reckless Magic by Rachel Higgins. I ended up only listening to 1 chapter of this book, so I don't really have thoughts on it yet. From my understanding, we are following our female character. I don't even know her name very well because I only listened to 1 chapter. But she has not had a great time with schools. She's constantly getting kicked out of schools because something inevitably happens that the school can tie to her that causes irreparable damage to the school. Our character doesn't seem to know why these things are happening, but she's like on her last chance. She's at another school and she really, really needs to make this work. She just needs to graduate. She just needs to graduate, and then she can be done with all of these schools that just seem to have some kind of unlucky thing happen to them while she's attending there. And so far, I've just kind of got a little bit of background into the world. There was like a couple of intro like scenes in regards to who I presume is the character that we're following now. And there's some like magic going on. I presume our character that we're following has some magic within her, and that is what's causing all of the unluckiness at the places that she's been attending. But that's all I know so far. I like the narrator, and so far everything's fine. So I'm looking forward to expanding my like knowledge of this world and seeing exactly what's going on and things like that. But so far so good. But again, I'm only on chapter 1. The other book that I started this week is not even on my TBR. So my TBR game went up on Saturday. So if you haven't watched it, I will link it in the description box below. But this particular book is not on my February TBR. It is From Below by Darcy Coates. So I had this on my TBR for another readathon that I was participating in last year. And I ended up using something else to fulfill that prompt. So this is an underwater horror story about the SS Arcadia. And in this book, the SS Arcadia had gotten so far off course and nobody knows why, and then it sank. And so many years later, we are following a dive team that has been hired to dive down to the wreckage, film everything, and hopefully uncover why the ship sank. So I have read another one of Darcy Coates' books before. I can't even remember what it was called at this time, but I know that it was a haunted house story. It was several years ago. I will put the name of the book here. But yeah, I enjoy a good haunted house story. The story was fine. But when this one came out, I was immediately interested because it's got the indicators that this is a Titanic-like ship. And I really, really enjoy reading fiction about the Titanic, or that's inspired by the events of Titanic, or you've got a ship that is like Titanic featured. And that's what we've got here. Obviously, because we're dealing with a horror story, I'm expecting some nice supernatural vibes, maybe some malevolent spirits or demons or something, to have some kind of connection to why the SS Arcadia sank. But yeah, so I started this one last night. I am 8 chapters in. I am doing a chapter by chapter on this. So if you've been with me through my Book When Cozy's Club era, Book When Cozy's Club was a first in a series cozy mystery book club that I ran for about 5 years on my channel. In the last year that I was running it, I started doing chapter by chapters on the monthly selections. Chapter by chapters are basically audio only reading vlogs where I read through a certain number of chapters. I give you my thoughts on them. It's audio only, and I do that throughout the entire book. So I basically cut the book up into sections. I do so many sections, and so there are so many episodes per book. In this case, since this is not a first in a series, this is just a standalone novel, this will be its own like episode or podcast or whatever. And so yeah, I've been really wanting to bring the chapter by chapters back to my channel because I did enjoy making them, and I think if somebody wants to read along with somebody, it's a really great thing to have available for somebody to possibly buddy read this book with somebody else. So the reason that I picked this book up was because Allison on the book break, she has been doing what she's calling start and stop buddy reads. And basically, she's doing the same thing. She is taking a selection. They are making stopping points, and she is putting out so many videos talking about her thoughts. At least I think that's how it works. And then she invites other people to do the same. But their stopping points can be in the middle of paragraphs and not at the ends of chapters. So she has magic sentences so that you know, in whatever format that you're reading in, where to stop and comment on your thoughts on what's going on. I don't like stopping in the middle of paragraphs, so I thought this is the perfect opportunity to bring my chapter by chapter back. That way I am still participating in their group read, but I'm doing it my way. And so I can't get frustrated about having to stop in the middle of a paragraph, in the middle of a chapter, and have to comment on what I'm thinking of the story so far at that time. So this particular one is going to have, I think, 8 sections. We're going to read 8 chapters every section. And I just recorded my first episode last night. I'm a little rusty, if I'm honest, but I enjoyed it. And so, yeah, I'm going to collectively record as I do this. I'm not going to post them yet because I don't believe the start and stop buddy reads are going to happen until like the middle of February. So once those start going up, I will post mine because I should be done with this book by then. I anticipate this is going to take me a full week to read if I keep on schedule and continuously read just this book as my nighttime reading. But yeah, so far so good. I think what I can tell you is that we do jump back and forth between time periods. So we do have chapters with our dive team, and then we also have chapters of what happened prior to the sinking of the ship. So yeah, if you're interested in hearing my thoughts, spoilery thoughts on this book as I read through them, you can wait for my chapter by chapters. But I'll try to let you know in my diary entries my general thoughts without spoilers as well. And so yeah, so far enjoying this one. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in tonight's chapters. So yeah, that's everything that I'm reading so far. I will say that I will probably need to put Reckless Magic on hold for a little bit because I just got my hold released to me for the Mark of Athena audiobook from the library. So that is on my TBR for this month. Reckless Magic is also on my TBR, but that one is available on Audible Plus, and so I don't have like a time limit on that particular audiobook. Plus, I have the ebook copy as well from when I bought it in 2011. And so, yeah, I didn't actually buy it. It was free. I'm sure it was free when I bought it in 2011. So, yeah. So I feel okay putting Reckless Magic to the side. Plus, I only read one chapter, so I'm not like really into it yet. So I think I'm going to put that on hold for now. I'm going to start Mark of Athena and get that one read because it is pretty thick and I think it's going to take me a bit, even if I'm trying to combo read it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to combo read it while I'm doing the From Below chapter by chapters, but I definitely want to try to get some combo reading in for Mark of Athena so that the book moves a little bit faster for me and so it doesn't take a super long amount of time for me to finish it. And so that's my plan for this next week. Continue with From Below and finish that chapter by chapter maybe, and then start in on Mark of Athena and see how far I get. So that is all of the reading content. Now it's time for another Yarnie update. So I did put in work on both of my projects this week. I will say that I have kind of an itch to work on something different just because I've been working on these two projects pretty monogamously and I kind of am feeling the want to work on a sock, but I haven't yet. I've stuck to these projects. So first we'll talk about the Pure Fuzz in my Stitching the High Notes Nutcracker bag. I really, really love this bag. It is super cute. Not any of my instruments on here, but there's some violins and there's a French horn, which my sister played, and I think those are the only two musical instruments on here. But obviously you've got the ballerinas and the Mouse King and all of that, the Russian dancer. Really, really love this bag. And so, Pure Fuzz. I am not yet done with this. I did not knit as much as I have been just because I've been kind of nursing, you know, that arm pain. I didn't want to aggravate any more of an injury. But I did finally add in my final skein. So I am on the kind of end of this project. So I'm going to knit the body until this is gone. And then I have the rest of the skein to do the ribbing. So hopefully this will be enough to do the ribbing. I intend on doing 9 rows of ribbing. This might not be enough. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to like keep an eye. The more I look at this, the more I think it's not going to be enough. But then, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just doubting myself. But it's only 9 rows of ribbing. I don't know. I don't know. If you have thoughts, let me know. But yeah, that was my thought. In any case, Pure Fuzz. So, reminder, this is what it looks like in the front. This yarn is super lovely. I am like super excited to get mine done because it's also super light. But I think it's going to be nice and warm with the alpaca content that is in here. Oh, reminder that this yarn is Wonder Fluff from Knit Picks. This is a bulky weight yarn in Willie's Heather, 142 yards, 50 grams per ball, 70% alpaca, 23% nylon, 7% merino. So yes, really, really loving this. So I was here at the White Ghosty the last time I talked to you. So I was here and I have done this much. So I've still got a lot done, not as much as the previous week, but I still think I got a lot done. Plus I put in my very last skein. So good progress so far. I've got about this much from the underarm, which I think is a good length. So I think adding the last skein is going to give me a nice length for the sweater. And so yeah, so far so good. Really, really loving this project. And again, super light, so it's not like a heavy mass on my lap while I'm knitting either. And I think this is going to look really, really nice on my daughter. So super excited to get this one done. Maybe I'll have it done by the time I talk to you next time. We shall see. I'm not going to promise anything though, because I definitely don't want to aggravate whatever injury I might have done to myself last week when I was not listening to my body. Okay, and progress on my rainbow ring. So Haunted Mansion bag from a dishcloth set that we picked up at Disneyland. My mom turned this one into a project bag for me. And so this is my rainbow ring. I am working on the first sleeve. And so this is what I've got so far. And so you can see that this is where I was at the last time I talked to you. So I haven't done as much work on this week, but I was able to put a little bit more in. You can see that the arm sleeve width is decreasing, so I am doing decreases. And so, yeah, I will say that I did reach for the Pure Fuzz more often than this. Normally I try to alternate and give each a little bit of time, but Pure Fuzz was where it was at for me this week, and so I didn't put in as much. But I still got in quite a bit, I think. So first sleeve will probably be done by the time I talk to you next time, I would hope. But again, we shall see. We shall see. So really, really loving this one. This one definitely has a bit more weight on it, but it is also a much bigger size than the Pure Fuzz, and the composition of the yarn is different. as well, but really, really loving this. It's so squishy. So squishy. I think, though, that is just, like, inherent of, like, a fingering weight sweater. I've only got one other, I think, fingering weight sweater, and that's my Clipped Crows Fly Again sweater, which I wore, was it last month? I think I wore it last month. It's the gray sweater with the striped sleeves. So, yeah, that's a Haikyuu inspired sweater. Haikyuu, inspired by the Haikyuu manga and anime from Haruichi Furudate. And so, again, reminder that I am doing the rainbow ring in this lovely gray yarn as my main color. It is Yarn Cafe Creations Biscotti Sock Yarn in Gothic Smoke. So I am on my third skein currently, and this is how much I have left of the third skein. And then I've got my Advent Calendar, Residents of the Haunted Mansion from Fangirl Fibers. And so I think I've done up to day 24 already on the sleeve. And so my plan is to do up to day 27, and I think that should give me the correct sleeve length that I'm looking for before I start in on the ribbing. I will do a measurement before I get to that area, but that is my plan so far. Get up to day 27 and then do the ribbing. Hopefully that'll give me a 15-inch sleeve, and then I'll have a 2-inch cuff, which will give me a 17-inch sleeve, and that is what I'm looking for, I think. So, yeah, so far so good. Really enjoying this. I know I did work on this while we were finishing the first season of Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. So we finished watching that on Disney+. Enjoyed that. I will say that I do enjoy the movies that were made previously. I don't know why it gets so much hate, but I enjoy the movies. The TV show was good as well, but I enjoy the movies also. So, yeah. Looking forward to the next season of the Percy Jackson TV show. This week we also watched the G.I. Joe movies. So I've never watched the G.I. Joe movies before, but there was a little ad for it on Paramount Plus, the first movie, and so I watched the trailer, and I was all like, oh, this looks interesting. And I believe that there was like a crossover at the end of the Transformers Rise of the Beasts movie, and I really enjoy the Transformers movies, and so having that crossover, I thought, maybe I should watch these G.I. Joe movies. And they were really good. So we watched all three of them. We watched G.I. Joe and the Rise of Cobra, G.I. Joe, is it Retaliation? And then the Snake Eyes origin story. All very good. Really enjoyed all of them. And I think if any other G.I. Joe movies come out in the future, I'd be interested in watching those as well. We're trying to stay caught up with all of the anime that is simultaneously streaming on Crunchyroll. So Blue Exorcist, Solo Leveling, Sign of Affection, The Witch and the Beast. I don't think I mentioned to you that we had started The Witch and the Beast. I have read 3 volumes of The Witch and the Beast and really enjoyed it. I really need to get back to that series. But I think we are on episode 4 at the moment. And it is where, or I should say what's going on in episode 4 is what is occurring in volume 3 from what I can remember. So, yeah. I have not continued with Demon Prince Momochi House. I think I want to read that one first. Whereas with The Sign of Affection, I'm fine watching that one because I'm enjoying that one a lot more than when I read it. But I think Demon Prince of Momochi House, I'm going to enjoy more reading it than watching. So I think I'm going to put Demon Prince of Momochi House on hold for a bit. But we're enjoying all of the anime so far. And daughter and I just got tickets for the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba theatrical event that's going to happen at the end of February. So that'll be really fun. I think it's going to be the last episode of the Swordsmith Village arc and the first episode of the Hashira training arc. I think that's what is happening. Yeah, super excited for that. Plus, it's like right after the next manga club meeting. So that's going to be really fun because the theater that we got tickets to is like not very far from that theater at all. And so it's going to be really fun. It'll be the first time that I've been back at a theater in years. In years. So that'll be an interesting experience as well. Plus the movie theater that we are going to for the event we've never been to before. It's new, and so I'm really interested in seeing what it looks like inside and all of the amenities and everything like that. So yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Oh, daughter went to Animate this week. So I should have some B-roll for you to close out this video. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say for this week. Nothing much else going on, and I'm looking forward to the coming week. We're supposed to get a lot of rain, which always makes me happy. It's already kind of started, but there's definitely more rain in the forecast for the next few days, and so I'm really, really looking forward to that. I'm loving the weather at the moment, and yeah, it's just putting me in my happy place. So I'm looking forward to getting a lot more knitting done this week. I'm looking forward to doing more chapter by chapter for From Below, and just like enjoying what I'm doing in general. Yeah, I think that's just all we can ask for, right? Is to enjoy what we're doing when we're doing it. And so I'm just going to let my mood take me wherever it wants me to go and enjoy what I want to do when I want to do it. So let me know down in the comments below what you've been up to this week. What have you read? What have you watched? Have you enjoyed what you've read so far? How did you end January's reads? Did you get everything you want read finished, or did you have some hanging over from the end of January? What was your highest and lowest rated reads of the month? I would really love to know. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a rain cloud emoji, because it is raining and I love it, down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.